Hello and welcome. It is currently 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the date of March the 18th, 2021. My name is Derek and this is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and amongst the like, well, let's each his own risk and, of course, their own reward. 57,100. The price of Bitcoin. This was, past tense, like a range, and I tried to just complete the drawing and just drew it like that, and then now I added that. Right, I guess I right clicked it. I don't see how I did. Anyway, this was a range for Bitcoin. We can entered it, and you didn't know it was going to enter a range at this point, but August 2017, exiting it, attempting to, and succeeding thus far, November of last year. 4 years. As it went through the 18 average band of highest and lowest prices for a short period of time, close to half a year or so. And then it got above it, and then traded within it like it did in here, and grinded amongst the 18 average of highs, and boom, it's been a spectacular run. We also had this little one in here too. So one thing I can tell just by doing this is there is very little price memory of Bitcoin from around 1270 or so up to about 2200. Because price on this month of May of 2017 broke above it, it held it for a bit, another leg higher, and then the subholding where it came from just did not enter this little range. It might be possible we'll say the same thing about 20,000 to whatever it happens to reach into the top. And really, you can even go out along the limb and say over 13,000 as far as where it would spend very little time. Because you can say, you know what, this range is more bound to be something like that there. And I guess even if I get technical, maybe like that. So this is this period of price point where it didn't have much. And I guess technically you can, you can say, well, maybe just do a little bit like around this high here. To a degree, yes, but it spent like 3 or 4 months consolidating around this area here. So this is like that didn't spend much time at, especially at like 16, 17, 1800. And again, especially here will be like around like anything in the 20s. And maybe even the 30s and 40s, who knows? It's all going to depend on what the pullback is going to bring, because it's going to have a decent pullback when it's ready. But what will the high be when it pulls back, and what will it pull back down to? Because it could pull back down to a number greater than where we stand now. Keyword could. As this, I mean, not putting it in perspective, if it were to go to say 250,000, we could have a pullback to like 80 or 90 as a possible example. I think if we pull back anywhere near this point here, we should come back to near where we came from, or to where we are at the 20K mark. But if we don't, and we just come back down to like 35 or whatever, that's not really that big of a pullback. So I only count that as like intermediate type moves, to say the least. But a very, very nice little play so far. This is month number 5 since it has last not even touched the 18 average of highs, or even breakout number 6 if you want to count October of last year, and it left it from a low of 10,380. Not a single red candle. On the weekly chart, we had these as red candles, but I mean, this is like counting the green. That's three sideways consolidations, and still minorly grinding higher. Then we had 2 consecutive weeks in a row down back at the start of the new year. A decent sized week on February 22nd, week losing 21%, but it's already corrected it all back. As we can see, price actions at the upper end of this previous high. And on the daily term, these few days in here, and I know I just been putting the, I might as well put this in again. This is probably easier just to draw it like this. But what it's doing is it's holding and staying in an area amongst its previous all-time highs on the final 3rd week of February that it only spent a couple, 3 days at there before. Now, ever since it's gotten up there on the 10th of March or so, so for a little over a week, or on 8, 9 days or so, It's been just holding in there and supporting an area of what was the previous resistance mark. This resistance on March the 3rd, rather, 48,168 support here. Well, low is 53. So it has not came back to where it came from. This would be a technicality if this doesn't go down any further. Well, close. Still correcting within the 18. Attempting on 17th and today's session to break out higher. It still can, but and simply breaking it above the 18 like this. But overall holding very, very nicely within this run. So that's Bitcoin. And now Theta. This is getting sick. I'm almost getting to the stage of a loss for words. As well, one thing I've been stating a lot is I've been short selling Theta, but I do a lot of selling on Theta in that sense too. The smarter play, quote unquote, would be okay. Yeah, just the Theta that you had when it was at the high point. Just don't sell any for like a long time. But that's not me though. But it's getting to the stage when I quote unquote short sell, which is me selling when markets go up, but realizing I'm selling something that I think has fantastic upside room to go. Whatever I would normally sell, it's going to be a fraction of that. So for every 100 I might sell, well, no, let's do 50, 60, 70, even 40 sometimes. And in turn, you do that over and over, and you're looking, oh my goodness, I got this extra assessed amount of Theta. And the last time I guess, say I short sold would have been to buy silver, which was the biggest silver buy I've done in one purchase. And it really wasn't that large of a, I mean, it was, but it wasn't. And as the price action continues to rise like this, and it's, wow, like what it's a good, fantastic situation to be in. I mean, this was a dime, 15 cents. Now it's like getting close to 10. So this little range in here. And it's very much that of little. It enters it on the final day of trading. And what's interesting is you go from the low on March the 6th of $3.75. And then you have, it go up to $8, whatever. There's none of this even coming close to coming back to where we came from on this high here. And what it's showing me is that it's breaking out of this range that it's been in for the last week. Okay. I'm not too excited to sell at 837 now. When I'm seeing this range, I'm even thinking of, I need two numbers beside the dot now, maybe. And I don't know if 10, is 10 going to be that big of a level, really? At least when I'm looking for the peers, when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done, you can say, oh, 10 was a key level because it got up to 12, 14. That's what I'm saying in the sense of, and then we consolidate like many times like 10, like over the next 6 months or 9 months or what have you. I don't know. But it is highly, highly overextended. And if you're in a portfolio where you just get markets that are out of control for your value, then sometimes a smarter play is just to take a portion of what you got and then just diversify it into something else. And for me, of course, my favorite something else is that of physical silver. But it's just barely broken this level of resistance in here. Getting by it, and really today's session, and the day before. Amongst us on the ounce, it's got a better high right there. So amongst us on the hourly, there's that long range. So it enters it in March the 10th. It gave a message this morning that it was going to attempt to break it. It has done that. Now it has made the statement that it's ready for another leg higher. We'll see how well it does. But it's been showing good signs like, hey, it's still holding in there well. We had this break up to 1400 hour timestamp, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Then it comes back to where it came from as a previous high from, I'm just going for the date, March 11th. Instant recovery the next hour at 1600 hours. And it's now been hour number 4 of just holding in there at the intraday previous high that established. The all-time high for Theta is this hour that I'm doing it in. 8:26 p.m., the 8-hour, and probably going to most likely be higher as many hours come into play. We move into Friday and such. The all-time high was 8:10 p.m. Eastern time on that 5-minute span at that of $8.70. So therefore, let's take a look at this against BTC. And we'll go short term to long term. As this has been crushing it against the BTC, which has been crushing it against the dollar. As you can see, a market that's went from like a dime to close to 10, or basically in the area of a 100x move. Considering it was well under a dime, yes, a 100x move. And continuing with Theta, if you believe $1,000 is a significant target, then it's already done more than half its move. If it's already, or it's done about half its move rather. If it's done more than a 100x move to get up to near 10, then it needs a little more than a 100x move to go from near 10 to 1,000. So it's pretty much done half its move. As far as Bitcoin, and that would just be fantastic that this would probably continue going higher, I would think, at least when it would get to, if it were to get to $1,000, this would be better than 15,000 Satoshi, I would think. Short term has just been in this uptrend, basically kicking ass for the most part. Single hour term, we've had this previous high and really resistance range. Well, the first resistance that has broke out above was like 12.6 area. It did that on the 16th of March at the start of the day. Basically, you can call this inverted head and shoulders pattern. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And it's now just doing its breakout for the most part now, but it did establish this resistance, which was a pierce below previous high. Then it pierced below this previous high. And then it came up to it and it beat the highs, matched this high, and then the breakout here. And we can see here on the 4-hour term that it's just been a fantastic move from the 6,000 Satoshi low late February. Daily chart at the end of the year, or at the start of December, was like 3,000. And at that point, it was just huge that I was able to hold and stay above that point for a significant period of time. But well overextended. But how much more buyers in control? I mean, anything that goes up like 50, 100, 400x is going to be well overextended, and probably was a long time before it hit its high as it is too. I talked about this during the time frame. You had the strength amongst the 18 average of highs. These are the setups to look for in charts. It's doing its damage. Calling tops and bottoms can be a fool's game. Now, at an advanced level, you can get pretty good at it, but a lot of times within this, I'll pretty much a lot of times say, okay, well, this is potential targets, and if support resistance isn't hit at some level, oh my goodness, how big it would be. And when you get either capitulation, like stock market crashes and spots where things just crash extremely hard, but this seems to be an even bigger, when you get parabolic upsurges, and this is what we're having right now, then you got to always keep in mind potential levels of resistance that, yeah, potential. And if it isn't, the layers that you could be getting or moving to on the short-term time frame. So therefore, yeah, I'm expecting, I'd be surprised if, I'm thinking 18,000 or so. Oh, is it really going to get above that? 19, maybe, but if it doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 60, 70, 80,000 Satoshi in the next, 4 weeks, 4 months, whatever. Very quick period of time for that kind of a gain. And I'm definitely not predicting that to be the case, but it has been a wild market. And we're going to finish it off with the Theta Fuel. Is that going to be $1 coin soon? Really? Okay, whatever. Wow. I still got 5 figures of these things. And it's interesting. You get a coin at the start. You buy something. In here you got 1.6 pennies, and it could be worth $1 soon. Okay, so you have like, oh man, like what? A lot X gain. Oh, I had enough where I could have like rented a car. The amount I bet that I could have rented a car, well, now I can buy that car. Or I basically, I went on vacation, I bought that suite, now I can buy that suite, if you know what I mean. I mean, the amount of X gains that these cryptocurrencies are coming into play. There's two more things. Let's see. I'm going to go about Nano has been a majorly requested market, and you know who you are because you've requested it about sarcastically 1,000,000 times, but realistically about a dozen or more. I've only shown it like once or twice amongst, I think even just once I can remember on the requests. Maybe you missed that video. I haven't even looked at it recently, but I mean, yeah, like a lot of coins, it's getting its ass kicked against Bitcoin. Oh, but it's not going to look like that against the dollar since that time. It's not going to be in a big downtrend by no means. I mean, I look at something like this. What are the things that I see just on the short term? We're just basically talking about this situation in here. And a couple things. One, well, we've been in a bear market, so oh my, we have another failed breakout. Yeah, really? That's one of the things I'm looking at. Number two, you need to shorten the time frame. What's going on here? I mean, as far as you get all these sick little beautiful moves, like this period goes up and down, this period. Are we having some like really beautiful choppy action that could be day tradable on the shorter term? And well, not so much the last so many days. It's been sleepy for the last week or so. But it's been holding the move okay. Again, when you look at these markets against the dollar, be a much, much different story. I see right in here the daily chart making higher highs and higher lows. Most certainly the support has been where we came from. Weekly time frame, yeah, we're not in this bear market that we talk about. No, this is a bull market amongst that. Because what looks to be occurring here is what I consider that dartboard rally. But the question is, to me, a dartboard rally really is it's a man one or something when I like to define it as. Maybe I could give it a different name. And maybe it's the start of one, but a dartboard rally is not only when everything goes up against the dollar, but everything but Bitcoin goes up against the Bitcoin as well, with Bitcoin going up against the dollar. That sounds like a lot, but it's... Right now, a lot of coins are not going up against the Bitcoin. I do think that's going to change. And we will be having these coins overperforming Bitcoin. I don't think, but it would come where, Bitcoin loses like 50, 60%, everything else loses 20%. And I don't think it'll be that way. I think it'd be more along the lines of Bitcoin goes up like 20% or no more than 200%. Well, if it's up to the 200% number, and everything else is just noticeably higher. So Bitcoin's up like 20, 50%, everything else is like 400%. Or Bitcoin goes up 200%, which is like 3x. And everything else is like 5, 10, 20x on average. Or even greater than that. But the amount of gains you can get, and it's not just these coins here, like Nano. If you're at the end of the last year buying this at like $0.75, you've already managed to see it. Now it's at 5, so you're doing like, not like monstrous gains, but X figures still. The X is like what, 3 or 4? Like 4 even. 8, 5 even. 80, 450, but yeah, but 5.3 or something. So you're getting some decent size gains from these lows. And anyone who bought at these highs, this is interesting. You come in, you're like, it's breaking out here. And it's like August, and it's like $1.28 you're buying because it's breaking above. It's looked like it's going to get above this resistance that it had between like $1.16 and $1.31. You're buying it like $1.35. And then you had to wait for it to go down. You've seen your portfolio get cut to pretty much close to half. Well, if you sold on whatever because you got stopped out or you got scared, well, you got stopped out or you got scared. But if you didn't, then you've been enjoying, of course, gains. It's been like that with practically every single one of these markets. Now, this It's a free market that's doing this, and the blockchain technology is huge. That's what I expected, but this is getting crazy. I don't understand. I never understood where people got into Bitcoin to begin with in the first place. I'll say that as well. I don't understand why people love them so much to the levels that they do. And the value of these things are enormous. Non-fungible tokens is what the acronym NFT stands for. And it's interesting because I know just one of my friends that I've been talking to mentioned you're going to be hearing a lot about this, and heck, I'm even hearing this all the time in like my sports channels because the TV I watch is pretty much sports. I also like to watch some sports as well too. Yeah. So I mean, I've seen them talk all about betting and Vegas odds and everything, but now I'm hearing them talk about like you're buying like game highlights on the National Basketball Association. You got all these things that are numbered, all these baseball cards and all these other miscellaneous trading cards that you could buy at convenience stores and grocery stores in the 1980s and 1990s, and probably even the ones over the last all the previous years are just doing phenomenally well. In fact, I know somebody who's not, I don't know what they're doing. I pretty much, I'm not on the sites doing it, but someone who's taken a 3-figure sum into a 5-figure sum. One of my friends, in just a few weeks. It's like crazy. It's like amazing, the amount of stuff just by like, and he knew a lot about. I think it was. I mean, you might be watching this also, of course. Hi, how you doing? But Garbage Pail Kid cards from like the 1980s, and was able to like just okay, well, this is going to be good here, and it's just like kicking ass. So it's a market. People like it. To me, I would rather have the real deal. Now, this is cryptocurrencies as far as what I've been talking about, Theta and the nanos and all that type of stuff, and the Bitcoin and Litecoin and what have you. And I still don't understand how it is, why it works. But with the cryptocurrencies and NFTs, it's the same thing. Wax. Let me bring that token up, I guess, because it's got to be kicking ass, I bet. I haven't seen it in a while, so it's going to be rare footage. Okay, Wax P. 23 cents. Yeah, I mean, I would have bought it like there. Yeah, well. It's doing good. It's doing good, but when I look at cryptocurrencies and I think to myself, liquid. How liquid is cryptocurrencies? So that's what's big about gold and silver. And liquid to me, cash is something that can be easily changed to whatever medium of exchange or other money form, fast and easy. Gold and silver can take a decent amount of time. And then you have stuff like real estate. Well, that could take a decent amount of time. But cryptocurrency is like instant. That's what I really, really do love about it. So thus being able to turn cryptos into precious metals like fast is easy. And I love that. Or in other miscellaneous things, because cryptocurrencies being that of a medium of exchange. But I don't understand. And one of the things I looked at today, I don't understand why people are paying large prices upon it. But there is a market within these if you know how to do it. I'm really not interested in it as much of anything. I'd be trading the WaxP token, but I'm not even doing that either. But it's a hot commodity market right now. What I searched for today, and this is going to lead into gold and silver, is a hockey card that I was interested. It's something I wanted, but I didn't know what the price was on the market. Then when I did, I'm like, oh geez, I'm not buying it. That's a Mitch Marner, a perfect graded rookie card. 50, like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400. Really? $1,200, $1,300. I remember trying to buy 2 boxes of hockey cards, trying to pull it. I never did. Pulled Zach Werenski. That was my best rookie card. I got a terrible 2-box pack. But I was very interested in it. 12, 13, 1400. And I'm thinking, I could get 40 ounces of silver. So that's what the ratio should be. 40 ounces of silver from one Mitch Marner rookie card. Oh, if I'm going to be spending that, I'm buying it on 40 ounces of silver. And even on gold. But it's hard for me to buy much gold. It's easier because I can make my purchase sizes higher, given cryptocurrency values are larger. It's like deflation for me in buying things. Because if products don't change in price, barely go down, especially if they barely go down, but if they don't change in price, barely go up even. Or definitely don't go up anywhere near what cryptos do, then it's almost like what I used to pay for is like, okay, this is 2, 4, 5, 6, 10 times cheaper or whatever. So I'm not looking at silver as if I'm going to be spending like 45 or 50 Canadian dollars to buy it, or even 42 for the cheaper. No, like $5. It is what it is. And I guess I'll put silver in to finish it, but I'm even in deflation where I'm looking at like myself as it's interesting how it worked for me during my hot streaks within my life, because I always worked my life to try to win this game, meaning I remember working your 40-hour job and preparing for my lifestyle of a professional gambler. I spent 3 years working the professional job circuit, if you will, preparing for it. And you can almost say what I learned, I'm glad I went to school, in the sense of the way you learned in school is how I taught myself in a lot of ways, doing exercises and whatnot. But it really was a struggle, and it has been a struggle for me to a degree. It's just weird luck, I guess, for some things. But as I got very good at poker, 2 things happened at the same time. Number one, I had a start of an interestingly bad luck run, but poker is nowhere near as profitable as how this crypto game is, and most certainly my fantasy sports that I'm doing. Meaning, the down runs in fantasy sports is laughable and amazing when you consider what it does to your bankroll, which is what it doesn't do, which is not taking it down much. And therefore, I then had the situation where I had a little bit of a downward run was doing good for half a year or so, with a very decent, very, very, very good 5-figure bankroll. And then among that, I had a spiritual awakening point. Then I figured out what was going on with the economy and everything, and I just really couldn't care less to like break my poker streak, if you will. In fact, it was so odd during the playoffs in the 2008 playoffs. I can remember watching a Montreal Canadiens playoff hockey game in the first round. So it would have been April, I think. And I remember going back, like I was at the casino 2 hours ago. It was a long drive back, 4 hours before then. And I was thinking, this might be the last time I go to a casino. And I haven't been since, which is kind of odd. But because I had a good bankroll, I was able to do well for quite some time. And I played games here and there. And I was able to make small gains occur in things like fantasy sports and poker moving forward, and other miscellaneous things as well. But I'm on my second season in fantasy sports with a 5-figure income, as I'm up 15 grand so far on the hockey season, and that's just going to be continuously going higher. I only presume because I called it from day one pretty much I would do it and play well at it. I will state, if you're, I don't want to sell the information, but at some point, if any one person is interested, it's not a cheap price, let me know. It would be a very high 4-figure price if you're interested in how I win in hockey. But able to do that very well. I don't enjoy doing it because it's so much work, actually. It is a lot of work. And this cryptocurrencies has been fantastic, but the whole sum of it is, I played a poker game yesterday or 2 days ago maybe. It was $109 buy-in, but no, it's like $1 buy-in. To a degree, maybe you can call it 5 or 10 or whatever, because it's not that major of deflation. But I say that as in, for many of my non-amazing bankrolls, a lot of times it's 100 times lower than what I'm playing now. So I'm looking at different numbers. The spot where, okay, I got like 850 in bet. Yeah, I remember betting $8 on a day, and that's like, yeah, whatever, it's a daily bet. And I just adjust the numbers and such like that. But it also means bankroll management. When your bankroll's higher, diversification's important. If before with a lower bankroll, I'm going to do 5% of my bankroll or 2% of my bankroll in a spot like this. Well, now 5% becomes 3, 2% becomes 1 or whatever. Or 5% even becomes 2. You lower your bet sizes that you normally would have per unit. I'm very much where if you're playing with a bankroll, like got $100, $500, even a $20 or $50 bankroll that you're just trying to build big, then you can take some nice, interesting, large chances where you bet a lot, most, even all of your bankroll at certain times. But when if you're able to build a bankroll from like say 100 up to like say $5,000, well, what are you going to do with the $5,000 bankroll? Maybe protect like 2,000 of it, 1,500 of it, and you most certainly aren't going to be doing any before when you're again going to go do a quarter of my bankroll and bet this. No, you're going to do like 10% or 5% now because your bankroll is too high to do it. And yeah, I guess that's it. I got the NFTs out of the way, but yeah, a lot of the numbers game for me is just adjusting the numbers. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.